Your person has been silently battling their emotions for quite some time now. They tried so hard to ignore the signs, to dismiss the growing pull they felt toward you. In the beginning, they convinced themselves that what they were feeling wasn't real, or at least not something worth exploring. They kept pushing their emotions aside, pretending they were unaffected, trying to maintain control over a heart that was clearly being drawn toward you. But no matter how hard they tried to shut those feelings out, love has a way of making itself known. Quietly but persistently, it kept knocking on the door of their heart. Now, they're beginning to realize that denying what they feel has only caused more confusion and internal chaos. Slowly but surely, they're starting to process those emotions they once ran from. They're coming to terms with the depth of this connection and the impact you've had on their life. It's not something they can ignore anymore. This love, it's real, it's strong, and it's something they're now trying to hold on to with both hands, even if silently for now. They might not say any of this out loud. You may not see it in their actions just yet. Communication may still feel distant or uncertain, but deep within, your person knows exactly how they feel about you. There's no more confusion about that. They've accepted that this connection means something significant. It's not just a passing moment or a fleeting feeling, it's something they want to nurture. Though they may still be cautious, there's a tenderness growing in their heart, and they're quietly preparing to approach you in a way that's gentle and sincere. This emotional shift hasn't come without struggle. In fact, staying away from you has been incredibly difficult for them. It's something that weighs on them every day. Each moment without you brings a sadness that's hard to describe. They may act fine on the surface, but inside, they're anxious and unsettled. They're overwhelmed by the fear of losing you, and that fear has started to manifest in real, physical ways: racing thoughts, anxiety attacks, restless nights. They lay awake wondering what could have been, what still could be, and if they've already missed their chance. The idea of you slipping away is almost too much for them to bear. Your person knows that they can't come forward fully until they've healed certain parts of themselves. There's pain they carry, past wounds, insecurities, fears, that they know need to be addressed before they can offer you the kind of love you truly deserve. But they're working on it, even if it's quietly. They're moving toward a place where they can finally let their guard down, open their heart, and commit to you in a way that's real and lasting. And they know, with absolute certainty, that once they're able to give themselves to you fully, they'll finally be able to breathe. Only then will they feel peace. Only then will they sleep soundly at night. No matter what kind of mask they wear in front of others, or even in front of you, the truth is, they're not as detached as they may appear. The coldness, the distance, the silence, it's all a defense mechanism. A shield to protect themselves from vulnerability. But underneath that exterior, their heart is full of longing. They miss you in ways words can't quite capture. Your absence leaves them feeling hollow, incomplete. Life doesn't feel the same without your presence, without your laughter, your energy, your love. They feel broken without you. They go through the motions of their days, trying to convince themselves they're fine, but it's a lie they can no longer believe. Their soul aches for your touch, your understanding, your connection. They're starting to realize that life without you isn't just lonely, it's empty. And that realization is pushing them closer to change. They're no longer trying to escape what they feel. They're starting to surrender to it. So if you've been wondering whether they care, whether you still hold a place in their heart, the answer is yes. You've always held that place. Even when they tried to pretend otherwise. Even when they pushed you away. That love never left. It's just taken them some time to see it clearly, to accept it fully, and to find the courage to act on it. And now, as they stand on the edge of vulnerability, they're preparing to come forward. Not with grand gestures or dramatic declarations, but with something far more meaningful: authenticity, softness, and a heart finally ready to love you the way you deserve. Do you truly realize just how much of an impact you've had on my life? Because if you did, I think you'd understand that you didn't just walk into my world, you completely transformed it. I am not the same man I used to be. Somewhere along the line, between all our shared laughter, conversations, and even the silences, something within me shifted. I started growing, evolving, and understanding things in ways I never had before. You brought light into parts of me that had been shadowed for so long, and in doing so, you sparked a kind of change that no one else ever could. Before you came into my life, I was searching for something, though I didn't always know what it was. I craved connection, truth, meaning, someone who could guide me gently, without judgment, toward becoming the best version of myself. I had always wished for someone who would not only love me, but also teach me, inspire me, and hold me accountable in the most loving way possible. But I never found that person. Eventually, I began to believe that maybe such a person didn't exist, that perhaps I was meant to go through life without that kind of soul connection. Just when I was giving up hope, when I had quietly accepted the idea of emotional solitude, you appeared. Meeting you was like a divine twist of fate. It felt like the universe finally answered a question I hadn't even known how to ask. From the moment our paths crossed, something inside me awakened. That was the moment my journey towards self-love, healing, and spirituality truly began. You didn't push me, you guided me. You didn't judge me, you accepted me. And through your presence, I started to see the beauty within myself that I had long forgotten. You taught me what it means to love unconditionally. You showed me that love is not just about grand gestures or romantic words, but about patience, presence, and consistency. From you, I learned the essence of kindness, not just toward others, but toward myself. You instilled in me the values of loyalty and honesty, not because you demanded them, but because you lived them. Watching the way you carry yourself, the way you treat people, and the way you love, it all made me want to be better. Not to impress you, but because you helped me realize I am worthy of being better. Our love isn't the kind you see in movies, all glossy and predictable. It's something deeper, something more raw, real, and profound. It's not always perfect, and it certainly hasn't always been easy. But that's what makes it beautiful. It's a love that has endured, that has been tested, and that still stands. In many ways, it feels like a fairy tale, but not because it's flawless. Rather, because it's rare and filled with depth. When we were together, we felt like the luckiest people in the world. Every moment felt like magic, every shared glance a spark of joy. But when we were apart, it felt like the world dimmed. Happiness seemed harder to find, and the things that once excited us just didn't hold the same shine. Even through the challenges, even in moments of distance or pain, my feelings for you never changed. That's the most surprising part, how constant my love for you has remained. Time has passed, experiences have come and gone, and life has moved in all directions, but my heart has stayed anchored to you. I've learned so many beautiful lessons through our connection. I've grown into someone I can finally be proud of. At the same time, I've let go of so many old wounds and painful memories that used to weigh me down. You didn't just help me learn, you helped me heal. And though not every part of our story has been easy, I wouldn't trade it for anything. Because through it all, I've come to know love in its most sincere and soul-stirring form. You've been more than a partner. You've been a mirror, a teacher, a muse, and a sanctuary. Your impact on my life is immeasurable, and even if the world were to forget our story, I never will. The way you made me feel, the way you made me see myself, is something I will carry forever. So, if you ever wonder whether you made a difference, know this: you didn't just make a difference, you changed a life. You changed my life. And for that, I will always be grateful. I love you fully, deeply, and endlessly. Your partner didn't truly understand the depth of their love for you until you were no longer by their side. It took your absence for them to fully grasp just how much of an impact you had on their life, not just emotionally, but spiritually and energetically. Now, as they sit with that realization, there's a deep desire within them to return, to make things right, and to be close to you again. However, that desire is tangled up in fear and confusion. They're uncertain of how you'll react after all that has happened. The thought of facing you, of confronting the consequences of their choices, terrifies them. They know they hurt you, not necessarily with words, but through their silence, their absence, and their inability to express what they were feeling when it mattered the most. What they're coming to realize is that if they want any chance of rebuilding what was lost, they have to be willing to open up in a way they never have before. They can no longer hide behind excuses or vague explanations. If they want your trust back, and they do, they'll need to be vulnerable, transparent, and honest about what led to their withdrawal. It's not just about saying sorry or making promises. It's about showing you their heart, raw and unfiltered. It's about taking accountability for their emotional distance and the confusion they left you with. From where they stand now, they see you in a completely new light. You've always been strong, but now they see just how powerful your energy truly is. In hindsight, they recognize how much their life was aligned when you were part of it. Opportunities seemed to flow their way, doors opened with ease, and things that once seemed out of reach became attainable. They now understand that your presence brought balance, inspiration, and a sense of divine support into their world. You weren't just a partner, you were a spiritual anchor. The universe seemed to bless them more when you were in their life, not because of luck, but because your energy was contributing to their alignment and growth. And ever since they walked away, whether intentionally or out of fear, life hasn't been the same for them. Instead of ease, there has been struggle. Instead of clarity, confusion. It's as if everything started falling apart, piece by piece. The blessings that once came effortlessly now feel distant and unreachable. That's when it hit them, it wasn't just a coincidence. Your energy, your high vibrational presence, was amplifying their manifestations. You were sending love, support, and powerful energy their way, even when you weren't physically together. But when you pulled that energy back, everything began to shift. Meanwhile, something powerful was happening in your world. As they distanced themselves from you, you began turning your focus inward. You stopped waiting for them to show up differently, and instead, you showed up differently for yourself. You reclaimed your power, piece by piece. You started pouring energy into your own healing, your goals, and the vision you had for your life. You began realigning with your own higher self, and the transformation became visible, not just to you, but to everyone around you, including them. They've been watching, even if from a distance. And what they see now is a woman who has not only survived heartbreak, but has turned it into something beautiful and empowering. That intimidates them, but it also inspires them. They're drawn to your strength, your resilience, and your ability to rise. But with that admiration comes a deeper fear. What if it's too late? What if they waited too long to come back? What if you've outgrown the version of them that once walked beside you? These thoughts haunt them. Still, a part of them clings to hope. They hope that somewhere in your heart, there's still space for them. They hope that despite the pain and confusion, there's still a connection worth fighting for. But they know time is not on their side. The more they delay, the harder it becomes. They're aware that silence breeds more distance, and avoidance only deepens the wounds. If they don't act soon, they risk losing not just your love, but your presence altogether. They now understand that love requires courage, and rebuilding trust demands truth. No more half answers. No more disappearing when things get overwhelming. If they truly want to return, and it's clear that they do, they have to be willing to face everything: your anger, your disappointment, your boundaries, and your strength. Because that's the only way forward. They can't just return expecting things to be how they were. They'll need to earn your trust back, step by step, word by word, action by action. And maybe, just maybe, if they can show up fully, if they can match the depth and sincerity of your love with their own healing and growth, there might still be a path forward. Not a repetition of the past, but the creation of something stronger, something rooted in truth, mutual respect, and spiritual connection. They see now what they couldn't see before, that loving you was never the problem, it was loving themselves enough to show up fully that they struggled with. But they're ready to try, no matter how scared they are.